we're at the starting screen. Hold on. Now we can. Now I can turn on the camera. uh, wait. Why is it ads? How dare you? I pay for premium service on a max boosted server Discord. You shouldn't tell. Wait, we're recording. Hold on.
Yeah, I saw it too. I was like, what the heck is this?
We just shouldn't get
Who's
ads
this,
on a max.
Yeah. Who's this fourth person?
Yeah, max boosted server. You're gonna give us ads? We're all paying money. Leave us alone. It's like my television puts ads up now. All right. It's been a long time since you and I hung out. 3 weeks since we did a VODCAST together. 2 weeks. No, 2 weeks. No, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks since we did a VODCAST together. So here we are, and we were trying to figure out what to talk about tonight, and then we remembered that like 6 weeks ago we said we're gonna have to talk about this again in 6 weeks, and it's been 6 weeks. So there you go. We just finished session 7 of Abomination Vaults, and you guys finished session 7? Question mark. Of Cyberpunk. There you go. So it has officially been 6 weeks. So we're gonna talk about those games, those non-D&D games that we were playing, and what we're thinking of them so far. So we will start with Pathfinder 2nd edition. So I will hand you the conch shell of interviewing, and I will become the interviewee. So hit me up. What do you want to know about Pathfinder 2e?
I guess now that you've played 6 sessions of it, you were very excited from the first one.
7 sessions. I'm basically an expert now. Basically an expert.
Yeah, I mean, and all the learning too. I just want to know, like, is it still like, because you were really excited from that first session. Is that excitement still there? Is it more? How's it?
Yeah, I sit riveted every week to the game, because it is challenging in a very satisfying way. I feel like I have yet to encounter any scenario, or even with Stone's terrible dice luck, that we have been in a situation that was blatantly unfair and unbalanced. Like, we've certainly had our fair share of challenges, and there's definitely some tedious bits to it. Like, because the constant tracking of things, right? Like, the constant tracking of things, some people are into that, and some people, like myself, it can start to be a little bit of a chore. But the reward that I'm getting back for some of these more tedious systems feels worth it. Like, I don't know. We're just now hitting level 3, and every session I haven't felt like I'm only level 1, I'm only level 2. And frequently, when we're playing 5th edition D&D, you can hear me say, like, what do you want from us? We're only level 1. We're only level 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, you still have a bonus action. What am I gonna do? I'm a level 1 character. What am I gonna do with the bonus action? I ain't gonna do shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've made my 1 attack, and I'm done. Like, that's it. Well, was it a fancy attack? Was it a cool attack? Did it have a good chance of getting a crit? Did you need to maneuver into a special position to help other people out? Well, maybe, yeah. Like, we play with flanking, so you get a +2. So we're doing that work, But the more I think about it, like, everything that makes our low-level 5e interesting are house rules that we layered in there. And so it's just wild that we're playing, I want to say, like 95%, maybe 98% raw. I think Ashwin has like maybe 1 or 2 house rules that aren't even that impactful to the way game plays. It's more for convenience of running VTT, essentially. That just the raw, like, if you just compared raw 5e to raw Pathfinder 2e, there'd be no competition at all. But when I compare Pathfinder 2e experience to my World Patch document 5e experience, I still think Pathfinder 2 is in the lead. Raw, I think it's in the lead, and that's huge, to me. because the world patch document represents a lot of my own preferences, my players' preferences, but as I pointed out, I think last week to Ashwin when we were talking about Pathfinder, it represents me getting tired of having to arbit, the rules over and over again. And so I was like, this is how I will arbit this. This is how this rule will be handled. This is how this rule will be happening. Every time the game is like, well, that's up to your GM. We ended up expanding the world patch document. And then every time something felt lackluster, felt like a pointless investment of your resources, every time that something failed to provide fun, to provide engagement, we would kind of go in and we would tweak it a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I know that I'm in the honeymoon phase. It's a new system and all that. Will I eventually be like, oh, there's so many things wrong with the system. There's so many things that could be better. I wish it was like this and I wish it was like that. Oh, absolutely. Like, I already have a handful of things that if I were running a game, or when I am running a Pathfinder game, I will be changing. And these are like house rules that I've seen out in the wild that are pretty well recommended. But at its core, if we're talking about the skeletons of the games, then for me, Pathfinder 2nd Edition is delivering what I am looking for. It is like delivering what I am looking for. Yeah. So I have to ask you. You've played 2 sessions now, right? Yep. Okay, so
2 sessions.
2 sessions of the beginner's box. What's your takeaway so far? You've been watching us learn and play. Now you're actually in there playing. So what's your initial vibe on that?
I mean, so far it's I guess right now, and maybe this might be an issue with the class that I'm playing.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm doing the same thing.
You play Thaumaturge, right?
Yeah, Thaumaturge, and I find myself, and I think that's more of my issue is that I had such a hard concept going in character creation that I kind of pigeonholed myself in doing the one thing, and that was kind of how I felt during the first session. The second session, though, we kind of got we kind of now knew how everybody works, like all the players work, what we can do, how we can help. And even though we were rolling like crap the entire session, we started doing stuff to help each other out. And, instead of me trying to do the same thing I've been trying to do, I just said, okay, I'm just going to try and do something different because this is not, I just want to try to do something different. And it helped. And I think that's the part that I like most about the system is that, you can try different things and everything is at least it's some way useful.
Yeah. And I understand your frustration with your build. Hey, what's up, Butler Log? An avid Pathfinder 2e fan. I would say Josh's hyper focus has activated harder than anybody's for Pathfinder 2. I don't know if he's gotten a Pathfinder logo tattoo yet, but it feels like we're heading that direction pretty quick. Just throwing that out there. So, I understand your frustration with the build, right? You were trying to go for like a Belmont style build, and imagine how long it would take to get there in 5e, right?
I know, and that's the thing that I like so much, that I was able to do it at level 1.
Right, you're able to already be on your build. You're already there. You're already seeing your vision come into fruition at level 1, and then it only gets better from there. So many times you look at how do I build this character as a 5e person? They're like, well, this build will come online around level 14. It's like, oh, so it's unplayable in 90% of the campaigns, or what? Okay, cool. But one of the things that you got to remember is level 1 is still a level 1. So you have this idea for this character. You're getting a taste of the character at level 1, but you're still going to have to follow that build path to find the path, as it were, to your build. You're going to have to really map it out to reach all of the things that you want to reach. You got to figure out, is the GM letting me have a free archetype? Because that's going to help a ton to have that free archetype, because they're essentially getting 10 more abilities from a different class entirely. Let's see. Cryptic Muffin says, I think level 1 Pathfinder 2e is more engaging than raw level 1 5e. 100%.
1,000%.
Yeah, I think Pathfinder 2e level 1 benefits from being aware of other actions like demoralize, etc. Absolutely.
Exactly, 100%. And that's what happened. Like my Thermaturge is a charisma character. So instead of sitting there doing the same thing that I kept on trying to do, I started, okay, I have all these other things I could do with charisma.
Yeah.
I'm trained in intimidation. So, okay, let me start demoralizing. And
do you know how good fear is? Do you know how good fear is?
It's so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Armor class goes down. All of the spell DCs go down. Their attacks go down. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's better than Bless. It's better than Bless. Yeah.
There was a moment during our game where we were like in like a cave fighting these creatures that did a pretty decent amount of damage.
Yeah.
But we were at that point. That's when it like clicked for us when somebody was I feared somebody. Somebody put forbidden ward on somebody, and then they started flanking, and then like we took them out pretty efficiently, and it felt good because we did a lot of stuff together. And I think that's the thing I like the most about Pathfinder.
It reminds me of MMO rating, and it reminds me of the recent Pokemon game rating. When they do their monthly like 7-star Pokemon, you have to build a team that everybody on the team works together. Admittedly, you can build a bullshit solo build, but I'm talking about actually playing the game. To play the game. You have to say, like, hey, this guy's going to be debuffing, and this guy's going to be healing, and this guy's going to be building up to attack, and this guy's going to be keeping the guy that's building up to attack alive, so that the debuff and all this other stuff, when that finally goes off, it goes off spectacularly. But if everybody showed up and was like, oh, I'm going to attack 3 times, bro, then you're gonna lose. Right? It's a game that by being so difficult is rewarding you for teamwork. It is saying that like, hey, not all of you can be the guy like slam dunking the ball. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to pass. You're gonna have to block. You're gonna have to. It's a sports ball analogies left and right. Like the teamwork is baked in. Those numbers are so unforgiving. The numbers are so unforgiving. I don't wear any armor. I know that if a monster decides I'm going to attack Chamomile, I'm going to be critically hit. Like, it's not like, 5% chance, I hope I don't get critically hit. No, it's like, no, I'm going to get critically hit. It's terrifying. And my allies know that if I go down, they lose a very powerful monster, my Eidolon or whatever. And so there is a thing where it's like, make sure Cam's out of danger, make sure the Eidolon is in danger, make sure that like Gregor is there to block and tank, make sure the healer is able to get in to get a emergency heal. Ash, our DM, he is amazed that we're still alive 7 sessions in, because Abomination Vaults is got a reputation for being a meat grinder, especially at the lower levels. And so, but it's like we played a lot of 5e. We played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons between all of us. We have to have probably 80 years of like tabletop experience between the four players. So like, but we're being pushed, right? We're veterans of like of the hobby, and every week we are being pushed to our limits in a level 1 and level 2 game. We're being pushed to our limits. So, like, every week I show up excited to see what is next. The monsters can all do things. They all do things. They're like Glyph monsters or 4th edition monsters. Like, they do things. And it's, like, really exciting. There's not... This claw bite shit, get that claw bite shit out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, these creatures are doing things. It's fantastic. Let's check chat real quick. Butler Log says, so what I noticed regarding builds, all builds are effectively online at level 1. You get all your core features at level 1, and the rest is horizontal upgrades and bonus progression. Absolutely. Yep. Yep. You are ready to go, and what you were trying to do is there, and then if you're trying to do extra spicy things, you might need to pop down into that archetype. You might need to wait for some of the bigger, badder abilities to come online. You might need to get some of them skill, expertise, feats, but Yeah, right out the gate, you are who you said you are. It's not this bullshit Dungeons and Dragons where the cleric got their domains at level 1, but the bard didn't go to college till level 3? Question mark? When did he have time to go to college? Yeah, there's definitely a disconnect there.
Yeah.
Subclass should always be available at level 1, and I think they realize that with 1D&D. 1D&D will 100% just give you your subclass at level 1. Now that I've learned Pathfinder 2, I look at the design for 1D&D and I'm like, damn guys, I know they copied you and then now you copy them, and then they copied you and now you copy them, but wow. I mean, go ahead. Like I think it's gonna make 1D&D a much better game. Honestly, yeah. The problem is no matter what they do to 1D&D, they still got that broken ass magic system. And I doubt they're going to revise all of the spells.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the only way to fix it is to revise the spells. Not so much the system, just the spells.
Yep. We have a 65-page document that fixes almost everything in the game, but it doesn't fix spells. Spells are still the problem. Let's see. Cryptic Muffin says, having that third dead action I found is common, so finding those abilities that cost one Pac-Man that do smaller things. Absolutely. Here's the thing. You got to remind people, especially at low levels, none of these monsters have opportunity attacks. Fucking move into position so that somebody else can get flat-footed flanking. Like, do something with your action.
Another thing, too, is this is what I learned from playing, is that I don't let my last action be, after I attack. I usually try and save my last action for my attack. Yeah. So that, I do movement, I do trying to debuff or make their AC go down or do something like that before I make my last action, which is the attack. Mm-hmm. And if I end up having that last action, I'll try and do something to either debuff or move away.
Yeah. So I'm not a good example because I'm a summoner with the familiar, but
I don't know what the heck's going on your turns.
Yeah. I was very tired this week. So Tuesday I was very much dialing it in. I was like doing either like one set of moves or another set of moves. I wasn't doing all this rad shit with like Jeff and all this other repositioning and stuff like that. But my thing is use every fucking action. My familiar has its own independent action. I'm going to use it every round. He's going to fly to a different position so he can see anybody that's coming down a hallway. If he doesn't need to move, he's going to take a seek action. Why take a seek action? Why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? You got the actions, you might as well use it. Maybe the seek action will show something that we didn't see before. If my familiar was like able to use my skills, I'd be having them do recall knowledge checks. Every single turn. Recall knowledge, one Pac-Man. Why aren't people using it? We don't know these fucking monsters. There's like 600, 900 monsters. We don't know these fucking monsters. Don't finish a turn and be like, I guess I don't know what to do with my last action. If I swing a third time, I'll look like a chump. It's like, okay, here's a grocery list of things that you could be doing. And I think the issue with the beginner's box is the people that made their own characters for the beginner's box, they didn't know about that little grocery list of single.
Yeah, and that's what I did. Mm-hmm. On my character sheet, I went through that compendium and just dragged all the actions over so I can see them on my character sheet while I was playing.
Yep. My when I start setting up Outlaws of Alkenstar, I'm going to have it's going to be called like Action Bot. And Action Bot is going to be owned by everybody, and I'm just going to load that dude up with every generic action that there is, and then you could just have him open to look at all your options and drag your favorites over, or you could just have them just have a handful that you use, or you drag them down to your hotbar at the bottom, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's so much to do, and it rewards you for learning the rules and being good at the system. Butler Log says spiritual weapon is a concentration spell in 1D&D. 1D&D is dead to me. I would. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, as a guy who's played a cleric 1 to 20 and then played like 3 other clerics, I could definitely tell you that I wouldn't be enjoying it as much if I had to concentrate on it. But we've talked about that on stream before. Weaknesses are sick. Yeah, exactly. Demoralize is amazing. Sickened. Oh my god. You want to talk about status effects? Sickened is rough. Man, that'll
messed us up there in the beginner box.
God. Yeah. Oh my god. I am very slowly trying to like move more and more Pathfinder things into my Curse of Strahd game because Mythic is what it is, and I enjoy Mythic for what it is. It's I don't think it needs too many tweaks, but we could look into it.
We'll take care.
Yeah, Odyssey Prime is going to be over about 6 weeks or so we don't really need to tweak that too much. And then Red Hand of Doom, we're in a good place. We're in a good, weird anime A5e place over Red Hand of Doom. But Curse of Strahd, that's going to go on for a while, right? We got probably 8 to 14 months left in each campaign. And so, like, I definitely want those to be fulfilling and enjoyable. I want everyone, despite not having magic, to feel like they have things to do. And so, if we are noticing that people are still feeling like, hey, at the end of my turn, I just don't feel like I did enough, which I doubt we're going to have, because half of every group is just rogues. So I doubt we're going to have action economy issues. I'm going to look for ways to kind of add some single Pac-Man actions in there to give everybody a bit more to do. Because I would love to have a mechanical benefit. Like last night, when Anne did the thing to Redacted. Oh, it's not a spoiler. Yeah. It's not part of the actual campaign. It was a random encounter. So when Anne decided to pull a Philippocles and be like, I'm just going to pretend to eat this monster. And then I was like, all right, sure, give me Intimidate. And then you did. And the monster was like, oh, shit, I don't want to get eaten by that person. And yeah, so we gave them the Frightened status. And that was actually mechanically huge. That was huge.
It saved somebody.
I think it saved at least, it saved Leo's life for sure.
Yeah.
Leo would have died. So and then Remy would have been double sad. Because he secretly loved that Leo. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, yeah. So I guess to answer your question about Pathfinder, I'm loving it and I can't get enough of it. I am very deliberately trying not to overdo it, and it seems like I ended my study series, my study group series, prematurely, and I just had so much that was going on at my day job that there was absolutely nothing left. Like, so I just did. There was no time. There were days where I would work up until the prep stream, and then during the prep stream, and then run the game and go to sleep and wake up and then work on my day job some more. That's been like the last 2 or 3 weeks of my life. It's just been 14-hour days. Then doing streams, then doing games. So there's just nothing left. Now that that's out of the way and things are going to be easing up a little bit, I definitely want to go back and continue learning Pathfinder because there's a shitload to learn. There's still so much I don't know. Yeah. Well, speaking of what, what's up? Oh, on the day job thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been there for the launch of many websites before. But today we launched 30 simultaneously, and it was a little nerve-wracking, and we were able to knock out like everything that popped up, like every issue. We just like stamped out every fire, had a pizza party while we did it. So it was a real good work day, real satisfying. But around 3 p.m. I was like, all the adrenaline for the last 3 weeks was like. I just watched the meter on my UI just go, because like I had just been going so hard, burning every candle at every end, and now I can finally breathe easy because that shit is done. All right, let's see. Butler Log says, so my Psychic is going to have like 3 ways of applying Dazzled to enemies that causes 20% concealment miss chance before they even roll their attack roll. So bosses guaranteed to hit and probable crit still might miss, and that's rad. Oh, absolutely. I'm not a huge fan of luck-based builds. So for me, all of the concealment builds, the dazzle builds, things like that, they're less appealing. I've actually explored some like shadow builds that really focus on giving you constant concealment and stuff like that. I just feel like as a player, I'm not that lucky, and I would be spending all these feats and building this incredible like concealment build, and it would never pay dividends. So for me, less appealing. But I do like that Pathfinder has so many options,
Yeah.
that if you are a gambling man, if you are a Larionis, play a gunslinger for Christ's sake. That class is so luck based, it's bananas. Like there's huge payoffs if you like gambling, essentially, because there's just luck based mechanics everywhere. A concealment or dazzle based build, you're really just putting your trust in RNGesus to keep you alive and keep you safe and make your abilities worthwhile. But if you are the kind of person that wants reliable, steady math, there are builds for that as well. And so I think that's fantastic. And I just also like that I've always complained about the D20. I'm like, hey, the D20 is too small, or I mean, too large of a spread. It's too unreliable. Like you never feel like you're competent with what you're doing, right? But because the modifiers are so large in Pathfinder, the only thing the D20 is really doing is determining if it's a crit or not. For the most part, I feel like you can feel confident that against the right opponents, if you have set up properly, if you have debuffed the opponent, if you've got your flat-footed bonus, like if you've kept up to date with your equipment, you're gonna hit. Now, are you gonna crit? That's what the D20 is actually checking. It's got a small chance of missing, very small chance of critically failing. You can't critically fail on attack rolls anyways, unless you're playing with optional rule. And then you know for the most part you're gonna hit. You're gonna succeed at that thing. But are you gonna crit? And it's not just hoping for a 5%. It's not just like building a crit fishing build and hoping that that pays off. You can start to kind of reliably look at that and build for that. And I think that is great design. When I no longer resent the D20 having such a huge range, I feel like I've come home. I feel like every complaint that I've ever had about D&D has been answered. So, yeah. Let's see. Cryptic Muffin says, I'm playing a champion in Orcs Beginner Box, and I think champions are my favorite class. I am not playing a champion. I am playing in a group with a champion. I'm going to tell you right now, champion's my favorite fucking class. Like, right now, I'll tell you that champion's my favorite class. My biggest regret for my summoner is that I didn't make her a summoner with a champion archetype, because that would have been the most phenomenal thing ever. Absolutely. Lay on hands yourself to heal your summon. Beautiful.
Wow, yeah, that's actually really...
Go for a single archetype fight, go from having no armor to all armor in the game. I mean, there's a lot of bennies to doing a summoner crusader, and man, do I wish I just didn't feel like it fit Chamomile, and I wanted to play Chamomile as a summoner, so...
She just shows up one day as a little gnome, just full up...
Like, yeah, just in a little robot suit, just a little fucking robot suit. Oh my god. Let's see. Butler says, well, I can put my shield cantrip on other players and give it 3 charges, so that's reliable math right there. Absolutely. How crits work is also sick, because you would have had entire builds dedicated to have like a 10% more crit chance here. Just flank, and you get that. Absolutely. And then somebody in chat says, to Butler, Psychic Shield cantrip is nice. Yes, so I'm almost out of time to talk about Pathfinder, and then we're going to talk about Cyberpunk. So go ahead and shoot me that link for Cyberpunk.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but I will say this: did you guys see the Asian mythology inspired setting was announced? And we're going to get some good stuff there, because Pathfinder is constantly releasing new content, and that doesn't just mean new adventures and new settings. The Psychic is relatively new, right? It just came out, I believe, the Psychic. So, yeah, like, are we going to get a ninja? Is there going to be a fucking ninja? Because, like, I want to play a ninja. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's going to be a ninja, I'm going to play a goddamn ninja. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, man. It is, yeah, the Tianjai. I think I'm pronouncing it so wrong. But Tianjai. But yeah, that setting's coming out. Oh no! All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what, because they have kind of one adventure path that's kind of in that setting, and it's the Ruby Phoenix martial arts tournament one. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one, and I'm looking forward to see what they do with this new what'd you call it, setting.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for like everything. I'm excited for everything, and it feels good to be excited again about something. You know, it feels so good, and like I want to play more than I want to DM. Honestly, like I wish I could play more than I am, because like I really want to experience a lot of this stuff as a player before switching over to the GM, and I feel like losing a bit of the magic, you know? Like right now as a player, I don't know shit for shit. We run into a monster, I don't know what that monster is. I don't know what that monster does, and it feels good. I don't want to know what everything does. I don't want to have to like metagame, or try not to metagame. Alright, so enough Pathfinder talk. Obviously, the takeaway here is I'm really enjoying it, to answer your question. I am really enjoying it. And I look forward to learning more and playing more any chance I get. So, tell me here, what is going on with Cyberpunk? How are you liking Cyberpunk so far?
So, I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. I like the setting. I've always liked the setting. And now that I've, have run it, at least 7 sessions now, and I've gotten a little bit more used to the rules and kind of the environment and what they're working for, and gotten a little bit more used to the players and their characters. I think it's been going really well. They've been dealing with a lot of like silly, like, cyberpunk stuff, like dealing with a gang of clowns that have augmented themselves to do stuff, and that's a setting thing. And then like so far what has happened so far is they've gone through and done one normal mission, one major mission, and then they had some downtime to just do stuff and increase their equipment and go and buy stuff and stuff like that. And it's a very different like process than what I've done in D&D and in like a fantasy setting. So, and the system has done a lot to like help facilitate that in terms of like buying stuff and like what you got to do that, and you're living in a city, so you can just go places. And
yeah, do you have shop NPCs or are they just
shop NPCs,
buying out of the box? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a shop NPC. You can go up there, press the buy button. It'll take the money from your character sheet. Here, I'll make you a new character so you just see what the character sheet looks like.
Okay.
Create actor.
I mean, you also have a fantastic group too. I mean, you really lucked out on the players you got for this game. Absolutely phenomenal group.
Here, you can have 40. Oh, where are you?
Oh, I already claimed a character. It was Party Loot.
Oh, all right.
I can reclaim a character. Hold on.
No, Party Loot is a character sheet, so you can look at them.
Oh, okay. Crew Loot. All right.
Yeah, Crew Loot.
There we go.
But yeah. In terms of like the system itself, though, it has the whole like we had like a boss fight, right? And one of the things that we noticed about the combat in this game is that it's very like standstilly at the beginning. Okay. Until somebody gets that one lucky shot, or you get
right, where your gun manages to break their fucking thigh bone or something, and then you're off to the races, right?
Yeah. So like, I think what that kind of supports is the whole like this supports the whole idea that nobody really wants to die in this game because you're playing humans, and nobody wants to die. So when stuff gets bad, you're gonna want to run away.
Yeah.
Unless you're like crazy, which sometimes they end up fighting crazy people, but But that's kind of a thing in here, like, there was a moment where one character shot the boss. Shot the boss, shot off their hand, and then they can't turn around and hit them, and just out of luck, cut off their hand. So that was just a thing that happened. And the whole system is because it uses a D10, and like the D10, on a 1 it implodes, on a 10 it explodes.
Right,
So
right.
like you get some really swingy stuff just from. There's a lot of times where stuff swings out of nowhere, which is kind of exciting. And I guess in this system with how deadly it can be, but then also how easy it is to come back from some stuff too. Having that swinginess doesn't feel so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I don't know if I've told you about when we got bored with second edition as children, and I found on like just a shadowy corner of the internet this house rule system called Grimspear's Combat Rules. And what Grimspear's Combat Rules did is it turned every hit was an extreme critical hit. That was the premise of the system. Everything that dealt damage, it dealt critical, like extreme critical hit table damage. So if you got hit, you were taking wounds instantly. You were losing limbs. You were being incinerated by fireballs. Every spellcaster became a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. If you let the fighter get up on you, you said your prayers because you didn't know what you were going to do with all them attacks that were coming at you. Armor actually soaked damage and lowered the damage coming in, which then lowered the severity of the critical hit that you were going to take, because the more damage this was dealt, you rolled on a higher tiered table to get like a more crazy effect. And when I played Cyberpunk with you, I immediately was like taken back to that system. And our attitude about violence, it changed so dramatically when we tried those rules out, and we were like, what the fuck? Like, people were just dying and being maimed and being murdered like left and right. And it was so visceral and it was so graphic. And we were like, oh my God. Like, I spent a long time making this character. I don't want to just die to, like, a random, fireball. I don't want to die to some, like, random Orc's Great Axe. So, like, all the adventures we played with Grimspear's Combat Rules were a different kind of adventure. They felt more like the fantasy novels that you read. Maybe not the Drew Stewart ones, but the fantasy novels you read where people don't want to constantly be in fights because you die, right? If you get hit, you die. If you get stabbed, the wound gets infected and you die. Like, if the wizard casts lightning bolt on you, you die. Like, so you read these books, you watch these shows, you watch these movies, and there's not that much combat because the combat has stakes. The combat is very, like, real. And that reforged the way that we played those games, where we were just like, hey, whoa, we're not going to just take these guys head on. We're going to look for a way to ambush these guys. We're going to look for a way to cause a rock slide to take out their camp. We're going to look for a way to poison their food supply. We're going to look for anything but fighting head on. And that's what I'm hearing when I hear you and your guys talk about Cyberpunk, is that this is a system where, like, fighting is the last resort. Like, fighting is the last resort. And that's got to be such a breath of fresh air, such a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've had in the 7 sessions we've had 1, 2, 3, the boss fight, 4 combats. So 5 combats total in the 7 sessions that we've had so far.
That's
yeah. And 2 of them, the first one was non-lethal. It was a brawl. Mm-hmm. So nobody wanted to kill anybody. They were just beating each other up. A couple legs got broken, but right. But and then the second one after that, somebody blew themselves up with a grenade.
One of the bad guys or one of the good guys?
Yeah, one of the bad guys blew. Like, he was surrounded, so he just used the grenade and blew himself up. But
Cryptic Muffin says, my favorite combat so far was the chapel boss.
Yeah, so that was their first boss that he fought.
Nice.
And that's the one where it kind of clicked the how snowbally it gets, where, like, at first everybody's like trying to soak. Everybody's armor is pretty much taking everything, and eventually once you take enough armor, then you start getting injured. And once you start getting injured, all your skills go down. And so at that point, you're like, okay, should I run or keep going?
Yeah. Oh man. Oof.
It was this guy. I'll put him up.
Okay.
This guy. He fought that guy.
Oh, he looks cool. This is the cyber vampire everybody was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah, grenades hurt. So yeah, and like the thing about this game too is that you hardly ever, like, the HP you have at the start is going to be probably your HP your entire life. So like it's not like you're going to get
unless you get upgrades or something, right? Unless you get cyberware.
I mean, there might not be like there's not a lot of cyberware out there that can just increase your overall just power of your health of yourself. You can get better armor, you can get better equipment, and you can be better at your skills to try and avoid damage. But the health you have is going to be the same, and the damage.
Well, and also, what good is health if your leg and your arm got blown off? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean that's true.
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. You have hit points. Do you have body parts? Are you able to use them? Critical hit effects are wild. I mean, not to get off this topic, but Curse of Strahd Isekai game with the wounds and everything. Yeah. Like you could have a ton of hit points, but you take a bad wound, and now you're mostly ineffective in the battle. Like you die, and you have a fate point to come back, but you might get a lingering, malady or whatever, lingering wound that is just, you don't want to play your character anymore. You're like, fuck it, I'd rather just start over. It's that threat of like wearing out. It's that inevitable grinding down. And of course, like the creators of Cyberpunk, they're also the Call of Cthulhu people, right?
I don't know. I don't know if they are. Let me check. Okay. They're the Witcher RPG people. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're Call of Cthulhu.
Oh. Because that's another game that has...
No, that's Chaosium.
Oh, okay. No. That's another game that has that, like, inevitable wearing down of the heroes, like, doing the best with what you've got, telling the best story you can while you're still there. Yeah.
Yeah. The way that works in this is they have the humanity system where, like, for the most part, normally the only time this works is by you getting cyberware. So if you want to, make yourself better for all this stuff, then you gotta worry about your humanity. And as you chrome up, that maximum goes down, and to the point where if it ever gets down to 0, you lose your character. You're dead. That's not the only way of losing your humanity. Like the system even says, like, and some of the adventures like just have moments where you can just lose it for doing certain actions,
or
just witness
shitty things, or seeing, yeah.
But like one of the things here is, and it runs it in this game, is that if you kill a person, right, and you just like, oh man, I like their arm, and you just go and rip it off without, doing the proper surgery of like, okay, yeah, I want to steal this person's thing. That's not too bad. But if I'm just gonna rip off their arm because I want their arm, you tend to take some humanity loss from that.
Yeah. There's
and so.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
So, overall, though, like just the idea of like the way, and also I think the biggest change of Fresh Air is that it's a skill-based system rather than a level-based system. So, you get experience points or improvement points, and you spend those points on leveling up your skills, and you have a whole ton of skills, and the way you become better is by leveling up the skills you want to be better in. You don't just, after a certain amount of time, you're just stronger now. You got to get equipment. You got to level up your skills, and you just have a better chance of succeeding at the things you're trying to do, because you invested points into the things you're trying to do.
And like we were talking about in Pathfinder 2, where the difficulty of the system, the math of the system forces you into teamwork. I feel like Cyberpunk is doing that same thing in a different way, right? By these hyper specializations of skills, you just can't be good at everything. Like you have to rely on it. Yeah, you have to rely on a team.
Like right now, the crew's in an issue where they have to, go to a really fancy restaurant, and there's one character whose whole thing is they're built around being able to do stuff like that, because of their role and the skills they pick and. Things like that. Everybody else, like, I can't afford to go to this restaurant,
right?
As a person, and I mean, the world doesn't care about that, but so you guys got to like at that point, you got to think, okay, what skills do I have to help me complete this thing in this situation? And like the game doesn't hold like it doesn't expect everybody to be good at everything, and but you have a wide variety of skills that you can try and do. So it wants people to be creative in how they use the skills that they've decided to work into this situation, because the game is really open up. It's not like you're going in a dungeon and the only thing you can do is go through this dungeon.
Right.
Like, this is like, hey, we have to. There's a person that's missing. How do we want to find this missing person?
Yeah, and like the adventure you mentioned of having to infiltrate the restaurant, like the face character, sure, they can like just get like a rich fan to take them there. They don't have to pay for it. They're on a date. They get to check out the restaurant as a customer. What about the other four? Well, the tech person could be hacking into the surveillance system and checking it out that way. Or they could be checking into the company's, just machines in general, right, to see their records and stuff like that, and try to learn more. You got your fat heavy. He could be like trying to get a gig as temporary security or something like that for the restaurant, just to like kind of hang out. But there's like a lot of ways that they are forced to think creatively, almost like a heist movie or a heist game, right? Like everyone needs to find their in for this mission. And that's part of the challenge of the game. Is every mission can be radically different, because you have this entire city, like this entire city to work with. I also have to ask, you got to be running a lot of Theater of the Mind now. How has that been working out for you?
I think I've gotten a little bit better at it, and this adventure has like a lot of like, because the game is, they know people have to play Theater of the Mind for this a lot. The adventure kind of helps you, gives you a lot of good flavor text, and even like when they say like what the character says, they'll like put context in it too. Like, this character would do this. Like they kind of write it like if you're reading a book, rather than for things like that. So it's been really helpful for me, at least in this adventure, now that we're in it properly, to help with Theater of Mind. I like maps, so I try and put people on the map anytime I can. Even if we're only there for like a few minutes, just for a scene with a character.
All right, I got a question. Map. Who are your top 3 modern/cyberpunk map makers? Do you have 3?
Yeah, I have 3 now. It's Solution Maps, Frag Maps, and Misaki.
Okay.
He has a Misaki does like a lot of things too. He does sci-fi, cyberpunk, and fantasy.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
I think I want to say it was Tom Cardos was putting his toes near the water of like cyberpunk futuristic maps, but I don't know if he's going to take the plunge or not. I know heroic maps, you either get fantasy or you get sci-fi. There's not like, I don't think they've done modern yet. I think they're thinking about it. But
I'm using heroic maps for one map too already.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Is it? Is it their Atami Plaza maps? Atami Plaza is their made up like space station, and so that does have a lot of good maps for.
They have a
cyberpunk. Yes. Okay.
Even the apartment when we did our quest, our 2-shot. That was heroic maps.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, they have a city called Atami, I think, and then that city, I have all the maps for that city.
Beautiful. All right, I'm glad to see that you're being taken care of in that regard, because I know for Witchlight Isekai, I was struggling to find.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do how.
Yeah, to find some normal ass modern day maps. I was really struggling. I wonder if Incarnate is going to release a stamp set for modern. That would be fantastic if they did, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. But this is gorgeous. This is gorgeous.
Here's another one. This is a frag maps one.
Desperate Solo. That sounds like my character from the video game. Hey.
All right. Did I not bring you over?
I've got to finish the game. Like, I'm doing that thing where I don't want it to end, so I'm just not playing it. But like, I really should just beat it to see what the hell the ending is like. Ooh, this is a frag maps, right?
Yeah, this is a frag maps.
Yeah, I recognize it.
Yeah, all of his the only issue I have with them is that when you have perspective like this,
yeah.
Oh, it actually blocks a lot of. Let me. Oh yeah, you can't see too much. Let me see if I can throw you on something.
You're down on the ground level. There you go. You hop up on there. Okay.
Hold on. Let me turn off. It's a lot better if you see it all together. Let me turn off the config token vision. There.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yep. And he has a module too that gives you all the lights. And I could just load them in. So
wow. Okay. So they're already like lit and walled and everything.
Some of them did. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This one was one of those ones I just imported from him.
Gorgeous. All right.
So I'm like, there's some support out there. There's not as much as it is for fantasy, but and also this adventure comes with a few maps too. So I was able to use their maps as well. And so they're there. So I'm trying to put as many maps as I can, but it is very different. Like I do have to do a lot of theater of mind.
So I want to ask about that because I've been kind of watching your growth and progress as a game master. So look at all these look at all this stuff over here. Look at all this. All right, this is a lot of locations. How are you handling this? If I was playing in your game and I was like, yeah, guys, downtime, I'm heading over to the Silver Dragon. Are you ready for me? You ready for me to head over to Silver Dragon? Like, what's your play? What's your play? Like, how do you handle that?
Okay, so if that's the case, then all the locations here are in the lore. Okay. So I could look it up and find out what place is actually like, and then I'll have to make it up as I go from that point. But usually all the things that are listed here are from the book.
Okay, so you just check the book, you do Control F, Silver Dragon, and then it says the Silver Dragon is a such and such club built in an old doctor's office, and the owner and proprietor is Chooms McChoomstein, blah 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 blah.
I mean, if that's not there, I'll make it up.
Okay. So what are your resources for this? What is your go-to for this? What's the random name generator? What's the NPC maker? What do you got?
I don't use the random name generator because since it's Cyberpunk, I can use any name I want.
All right, fair. All right.
Like if you see over here in our contacts list, there's a Mariah. Yeah, she was just off the top of my head. There's a Geoff that came from Leah. And also sometimes I have the players make up the character's name too because in this game you can just know people like you guys have lives. You've been living in the place. So hey, one of the things you want to do, I want to ask one of my old medtech friends a question and see if they can help me out in figuring out this blood sample we found. And so the medtech Dr. Desire says, okay, he has a friend, and I say, okay, what's your friend's name?
That's great.
Yeah. So it helps. Like this person, I think one of the characters was talking up to a college student to act on a date as a cover to get inside another gang's or I think they were planning to use her as bait for a kidnapper, actually. And so they just randomly went to a university building, went into a classroom, and this is all theory of mine. I had no images and stuff like that for. And then I say, okay, there's a few people sitting in here, and they ask, does anybody in here have the fit the profile of that they found out is the MO for this kidnapper? And I said, okay, yeah, this is one person over there, and they go and talk to them, introduce themselves, and then they introduce themselves as Stella. I don't know. I just pick the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And then after that, though, then I have to make sure I write them down and put them in a note.
All right. So other than Stella, like, what about Stella? Like, are you just on the fly making all these up, or do you have any sort of tables that you're rolling on? Because one of the things that I think is cool about Cyberpunk that we're in the year 2023. Mario can't have an Italian accent because it'd be insulting to Italian Americans. We're in a very sensitive and we're figuring things out. Let's just put that. We're figuring things out. Cyberpunk was not made by an American company, right? So when you're in this city, it feels like being in a big international like Metropolis. Like when I was growing up in Italy, I would sometimes on the weekend I would take the train from Naples up to Rome, and I'd spend the weekend in Rome. And like everywhere in Rome were different people from different countries who looked different, who sounded different, who were different. And that is one of the things I love about Grand Theft Auto games is they always take place in a big international metropolis, and there's always going to be gangs from different cultures, there's going to be people from different cultures, and that is also in the Cyberpunk video game, and I love that. Mm-hmm. Now, as a white guy running a game, especially streaming games, I would be in a bad position if I made everybody in Japantown sound like they are voice acted in the video game, right? Like if I went in there with my bad Japanese accent, it would not go over very well, right? But like I feel like that's some of the flavor of the game. So like if Stella is from old Japantown, what are we getting for Stella? Do you know what I mean?
So as you know, I don't do voices.
Okay,
so
all right.
So that saves me.
Okay, yeah.
But I do have the art. Like my citizens I have a citizen folder. So when I pull out a token just for this person, and the random token comes out, and I see what they look like, that kind of helps me. And then token mode also helps. Usually when the first time I pull them out, there's a little description there, and then I use that to help me before I rename them. Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like
let me figure them out.
It sounds like you're going to be in a position where you got to start keeping track, like hardcore, of your of your NPCs.
And that's why there's a contact list here. And then once they're here and I have their name, then they go and send
notes. That's such a good idea to have like a contact Rolodex. Oh damn! I'm stealing that.
So yeah, if you zoom out on the dashboard.
Yeah.
They have their contact list on the dashboard.
That's what I'm saying. You got this you have an actual contact list like it's in their fucking telephone. That is perfect. Oh, I'm going to have to overhaul all of my my home pages now. So what's going on up here with this bar? This just says advertisements. Yeah, what is this?
So that's where all my visual journal, things are. So advertisement, if you click on it,
okay.
I don't know if you can click on advertisement, it opens up a journal, and then that's where all the journal that are just pictures and stuff like that. You don't have access to it, but like they finished the first chapter, so all the images from the first chapter are on the next one. And then I'm gonna as they go through all the chapters, they'll pop up there.
In Curse of Strahd, where we have all those homebrew systems, and I have to keep dragging the fucking documents over to the dashboard. I could have actually been organizing it to have this. Oh man, you're making my spring break real busy right now. Okay, no, this is great.
Yeah, on the upper left hand, that's where all the rules and stuff like that are.
Oh my god. All right, I'm gonna have to get a screenshot of this after the stream, because this is some good stuff here. All right, and what are these guys over here? Is that the rules you were talking about? Or over here? Services, items, lifestyles, vehicles, or these are shops?
So these are all journals of rules and stuff like that, so we can take a look.
Dang.
And then I have the homebrew one at the end. And as I make new ones and put them in there, then these guys list. So if you double click it, it opens up the journal, and then
and because you're using enhanced journal, they can actually travel between all of these because they're in the same directory, right?
So it's not this is just normal Foundry 10 journals. I don't have events.
Wow. Okay.
So they're set up like this now, where they have pages.
Yeah.
And they're broken down and everything like that. And if you click on the little page button next to it, it puts them all in the list as one thing.
This page.
And so this is just all rules that we have to make sure we keep up. And it's the book. I'll say the core rule book for Cyberpunk Red is not the best,
right?
In terms of organization, like there's things are repeated 3 times with slightly less and more information. So I try to put all the things that will come up during a session inside these journals.
Got it. Man, that is great. All right.
Yeah. I even rebranded the recap and the lucky fact too.
Oh yeah, what are the is it just called recap and lucky fact?
Oh yeah, it's called the Preem recap.
Preem recap. Okay, all right.
And the lucky fact because there's no inspiration.
Instead of recap, it could be vidroll. It could be Preem vidroll. because like, and then they're like showing their memories like on the thing. Pretty cool.
So the way I have it set up is that you get a free whenever what a preem is when you like roll a 10 on your die, it explodes.
Yeah.
So that's what a preem is. So they do the recap and they get a free added D10 to your.
Oh damn! Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. And then the lucky fact is that if they answer the fact expiration question of the session, they get 1 extra luck point past their maximum.
Okay, I dig it. All right. Yeah. Well, we are at our 1 hour mark. It sounds like we're both having a blast with our respective new games. The more I hear about your game and the more I see you do in your game, the more I'm like, damn, I wish I could have made it work schedule-wise. But at the time, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't bring myself to sign up for another game. But then my hyper-focus got so bad for like Pathfinder. I was like, I have to sign up for a game. I have to play a game of Pathfinder because I want to run Pathfinder, and I feel like playing is the first step to running. So I was like, all right. Then there was that moment where I felt like I had betrayed you because I didn't sign up for Cyberpunk, but then I did sign up on the same night for Pathfinder. But
honestly, yeah. I don't know if you would enjoy it a lot because it's a lot of puzzle and detective work.
Puzzles and shopping and detective work. No, I got smashed, man. I got smashed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying. I don't know if you might have dodged a bullet.
Yeah, maybe. Like. I'll take my Cyberpunk video game experience where I literally punch people once and they die. Like that's the fantasy that I need is to just be an angry trans woman punching people once and they die. That's my Cyberpunk fantasy, and the game delivers. Yep. I gain health now from being shot. So like I don't even I don't think that would translate well into the tabletop game. Yeah. If I could have been a cyber psycho, I would have become one years ago at this point. Yeah.
I will say something too is that the company is still working on Cyberpunk, and they just released like a new book with like a whole bunch of items, and it's like designed like a phone app.
Oh,
so like
really?
when you open the PDF, it looks like a phone app.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
And they've added hope. They've released free DLC every month for Cyberpunk, which adds new systems and sometimes new items and stuff like that to the game. So it's really good. It's well supported. There's a decent community out there. The system is very, very much a GM, consult your GM type of game, but I don't think it has enough rules there for us to move forward. So, which is a good contrast between like what I'm learning about in Pathfinder and what I'm doing in Cyberpunk. Like there's the two sides of like this is a completely different system, but it has the loosey rules type of thing where a lot of it's up to GM, and then there's Pathfinder, which is fantasy and more combat heavy, but there's the rules there that need there to be to support that combat.
Absolutely, yeah. Huh. All right. Well.
All right.
We got a busy weekend coming up. We got Red Hand tomorrow. We've got Classic Strahd tomorrow night. We got Daybreak Sunday morning. We've got Mythic Sunday night. Should be pretty exciting Mythic game, I think, Sunday night. We got Odyssey on Monday. We've got Cyberpunk on Tuesday and Pathfinder on Tuesday. And then a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So if you're not already on the server hanging out, you could message me directly, or you could hop on Patreon and automatically get added to the server. But we got a ton of games going on and different systems, video games going, all sorts of stuff. So don't be a stranger. If you're out there in chat or listening to the VOD, you can come hang out, join up with these games, and have some fun. Whew. All right. Any announcements from you?
Well, I guess since we're talking about Cyberpunk, if you guys want to check out Cyberpunk, we are on Tuesday evening, and they're on chapter 3 now, and they're actually like full on into that mission.
And
chapter 2.
The VODs are up on YouTube as well. The VODs are up on YouTube as well.
Actually, that reminds me, I need to send you a thumbnail in the description.
That's true.
For last session.
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week where we'll talk about some other random tabletop stuff. We have some good ideas, and maybe we'll have the energy to to come up with some good talking points for those items leading up to next week. All right. See you next time.
All right. Take care.